Good afternoon and thanks for watching. I'm Jurnee Taylor. Here's a look at the stories we're following today. Police and protesters clash outside Democratic National Committee headquarters during an anti-war demonstration. We've got more on the encounter still ahead. Plus, can an airport charge you a fee for help? The Verify team is taking a look at the claim that's taking off online. And the countdown to the holidays is on, and that means people in Central Arkansas are gearing up to see some lights. We're taking you to Sherwood, where the city's popular display is making big changes to make sure this year's festivities is easier to enjoy. But first, a crash on I-30 causing delays and headaches for drivers this afternoon. Now, it happened earlier this morning between exits 111 and 114. RDOT officials tell us a tractor trailer was involved in a rollover crash and caused an oil spill. This is a look along the interstate near exit 106. As you can see, the eastbound lanes are a parking lot that RDOT says stretched for about 13 miles. Now, we're watching this closely and we'll have the latest tonight at 5 and 6. Well, that is a headache meteorologist, Nathan Scott. What are the temperatures? I just want to get straight into the weather because I don't even want to talk about that.
Well, fortunately, we don't have any weather concerns out there this afternoon, Jurnee. Although we are locked in with this low-level cloud cover that is just not budging at all. Even with the clouds, temperatures are on the mild side for this time of year. 66 right now in the capital city, 63 in Arkadelphia, 64 in Russellville, and 65 in Pine Bluff. We'll see the numbers pretty much stay right around that area over the course of the afternoon. Those clouds not producing any rain at this time here in central Arkansas. Temperatures probably staying where they are, climbing up a couple more degrees. If we see a few peaks of sun, yeah, you can get into the low 70s, but I think seeing any sunshine out there will be little to none for the most part. But getting into Friday, look what happened. Small chance of a few showers, primarily for south and eastern parts of the state. It's all ahead of a cold front. A cold front will usher in more sunshine for your Saturday, but also some cooler numbers. I'll have more on that coming up.
All right, Nathan, thank you. New at noon, police in Pine Bluff are investigating an early morning shooting that left one person dead. Here's what we know right now. Officers responded to a shots fired call around the 2300 block of West 11th Avenue. When they arrived, they found the body of 34-year-old Antonio Martin. Police tell us there is no suspect information at this time. You can stay with THV11 and THV11.com as we work to learn more about this developing situation. Well, we want to warn you, the details of our next story are disturbing. Deputies in White County are investigating a possible animal cruelty case after a man allegedly posted pictures of a dog nailed to a wooden board on his Facebook page. Now, we are not showing those graphic images, but again, want to warn you that the details can be hard to hear. Spray painted on the board was a message saying, quote, "This is what happens to dogs dropped off here," end quote. Now, the sheriff's office is looking at filing criminal charges against the man.
We're still looking at charges that might apply for the actual display of the animal, but for sure the core charge would be related to animal cruelty.
Now, while there is not a humane society or animal shelter in White County, the sheriff's office says anyone caught dumping stray animals will be charged with animal cruelty or neglect. Negotiations between Israel and Hamas are progressing, and a deal to release some of the hostages in Gaza could come soon. Two officials tell CBS Israel would agree to a 3 to 5 day ceasefire to get aid into Gaza and a group of the youngest hostages and women out. Children are being prioritized as part of the first wave of a potential release aimed at ultimately bringing home the roughly 240 people taken during the Hamas attacks. Now, here in the U.S., a protest for peace descended into violence last night in Washington, D.C. Police used pepper spray on demonstrators outside the headquarters of the Democratic National Committee. Now, the organizers say they were there to demand a ceasefire in the war between Israel and Hamas. Nicole Killian has the latest for the U.S. this afternoon.
Pro-Palestinian protesters blocked the entrance of the Democratic National Committee Wednesday night as officers tried pulling them away from the... Several members of Congress were inside at the time. CBS News has learned that included the top 3 Democratic leaders in the House. California Congressman Brad Sherman was also there.
We heard the demonstrators outside. They disrupted us a bit, and then we were told we were in lockdown and would not be allowed to leave.
The lawmakers were evacuated as the violence escalated blocks from the Capitol, where House office buildings also went into lockdown. Capitol Police said about 150 people were illegally and violently protesting.
People getting thrown down the stairs.
The demonstration was organized by a coalition of groups. Some protesters blamed police, many wearing riot gear for the violence.
I was shocked by the police, by seeing police officers throw protesters over the railing, over stairs, by macing them and pepper spraying them.
According to U.S. Capitol Police, 6 officers suffered minor injuries from being pepper sprayed, punched, and shoved. One person was arrested, accused of assaulting an officer.
Nicole Killian, CBS News, Washington.
Well, turning now to your health headlines. For the first time this flu season, Arkansas is reporting a moderate level of flu-like illnesses going around. Now, right now, the Department of Health says flu A, which is the more aggressive strand, is spreading more, while flu B remains steady. Now, that's something to definitely keep in mind with the upcoming holiday gatherings. Also of note in the latest report, RSV cases are up across the state. In other health news, the preterm birth rate in the U.S. remains near an all-time high. According to a new report from the March of Dimes, 10.4% of births happened between 37 weeks of pregnancy in 2022. That's only a slight improvement from the year before. The report suggests the high rate is potentially due to factors such as inadequate prenatal care, greater rates of hypertension, and higher proportions of birthing women at an unhealthy weight. And results from the latest National Youth Tobacco Survey finds the percentage of high school students who currently use e-cigarettes declined significantly during the past year, from 14 to 10%. The report from the CDC also shows that in 2023, 10% of middle school and high school students reported that they currently use tobacco products. That's why the study authors say preventing U.S. youth from developing lifelong nicotine addiction is imperative. The Sherwood Trail of Lights will soon be back, but it'll return with a few changes. Those changes are meant to help with the flow of traffic, but there's one important thing that's not changing: the price. THV 11's McKaylin Johnson has more on what exactly is changing. McKaylin.
Getting an early look at the Sherwood Trail of Lights is clear to see why people travel far and wide just to get a look at all of this Christmas wonderland here. But whether you've only come once or it's a yearly tradition, many of you know how many others people come here too. Traffic tends to stretch for miles, and it takes hours just to get to this point, the front. But now the city of Sherwood is bringing in new processes, hoping to lift that burden. Now there's a reservation QR system in place. You pick a night you want to come to the Trail of Lights, then you pick a time, and you'll use that QR code to get in. But the biggest thing is those reservations are now in time intervals, and each 30 minutes, only 115 general admission codes will enter through the trail. According to Heather Jenkins, this change was overdue and necessary.
It is a safety concern for our community. It really impeded the ability for first responders to get to a home or to the trail even if there was an emergency.
Jenkins says this reservation system will not only help with traffic, but making sure if you come to the lights, you get to see them.
They're not going to drive 3 hours and get turned away because the trail is at capacity.
Another change coming to the Sherwood Trail of Lights: flash passes. For $25, you can bypass the DJ Hudson entrance and come to Bear Paw and have a shorter line. And if there's any confusion, the flash passes are the only things that have a cost attached to them. So again, entering the Trail of Lights is completely free unless you choose to donate at the end. And if you're having trouble navigating any of these new processes, I'm told that they will have people here on hand to help with those QR codes. But if you have questions ahead of time, you can go ahead and reach out to the city of Sherwood. In Sherwood, McKaylin Johnson, THV 11 News.
All right, well, opening night of the Trail of Lights is December 1st. We're all used to extra fees from airlines, but can you be charged just for getting help? We're going to verify coming up. Nathan?
And the clouds had been teasing us over the past couple days, Jurnee. It looks like it could rain at any moment. We need the rain. Unfortunately, the rain chances pretty slim, but they will be ramping up getting into next week. I'll have more on that forecast coming up next.